on this computer. Hi guys, welcome to tonight's team call. Okay, let's just go ahead and share then. Okay, so like I said, we are doing the Dreamer Society and Rise Up Dynasty team call combined. I'm gonna speed through this really quick. It is our coach happy hour. I kind of changed it to make it more fun and interactive. So it's not just gonna be me every Thursday. We're gonna have tons of guest speakers, Q&As, because I know you guys love those. And some maybe live power hours, but I really want to get more guest speakers on, so it's not just me. And again, it's our coach happy hour, so grab your wine, your Energize, your water, whatever you want. It's our happy hour time to learn and grow. And yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we do have some team announcements. Really quick, I'm going to speed through these. So our Emerald call is every Wednesday night. It's now Emma doing it, and that's why I'm doing these Thursday calls. It's 5 p.m. Eastern Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's Emma's Zoom now, so please make sure that you're logging onto the right Zoom. It's announced every Wednesday in the team pages, so make sure your notifications are on. Like I said, it's Emma. Okay. Next is the work launches on September 30th. I don't know about Emma and whatever, but for us, we're starting the challenge group on October 7th. So speak to your coach and talk to your coach about when you're starting your challenge group. I know we're doing MM100 and the work combined together because we do have some girls that want to start MM100. So we're just kind of doing a conjoined one. So October 7th, VIP early access is September 30th. So make sure you're talking about it. The month of September, and I'm pretty sure next month, the following month, Success Starter 2019 rewards new coaches who hit Success Club in their first 3 months for their business. So those who hit Success Club in September as a new coach, you will earn an interview with top 10 coach Melanie Mitro, whatever. And I know my coach Ashley earned a call, I think with Carl, it was Carl, I don't remember who it was. And then Emma was a successor. So if you're a successor, that is amazing. And if you want to be one, then go to Google and type in successor of Beachbody and figure out how to do it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously. And again, new coach call. I did this on the spur of the moment, guys, but I know we have a lot of Saturday wasn't a good day for me, so I moved the new coach call to Monday, September 9th. I'll make an event page tonight, and so you guys can start inviting your new coaches, or if you have been a new coach and you just kind of want to learn some new things, it's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, not Eastern Standard Time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? So Monday, September 9th, okay? So let's get down to it. Our guest speaker tonight is Lauren. I had to thank Emma for this. Emma got her. I think what are words? You're from Washington, right, Lauren? I think. Yes. I mean, okay. I was like, I saw a picture with you and Emma, so I was like, I don't think but I want to give you guys her stats. So she's been coaching for 4.5 years. She's a full-time for 2 years. She's a 1-star diamond, and she's a success starter as well. She's a Success Club 10 All-Star legend, and she's earned her NLC 4 Success Club trips, which is freaking amazing. And so, Lauren, I'm just going to give it away to you. I'm going to stop my share, actually, and so I'll spotlight you, and you can just go for it.
Thank you for that intro. I am flattered. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for your business, and to hear me speak. I'm really excited. First of all, I'm a mom of 2. I have a 6-year-old and 2-year-old, so life is like kind of a shit show right now. My son just started first grade. I have a toddler. Like, things are crazy, and it's probably the busiest season that in my personal life that I've had since being a full-time coach. And even like compared to like working out of the home, I feel like this tops that because it's just hard juggling all the things. And so organization and planning and all of that has really saved me from, I don't know, catastrophe. Like it's been huge. So, and that was one thing that really shifted for me when I decided to quit my job and go full time. I realized that I was really doing this, like coaching for a couple years. I was doing it like I wanted to make an income, but it wasn't like I was like, I'm running a business. Like there was not a lot of organization structure going on. I knew I started a new group every month. I knew I needed to hit Success Club, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I had rank goals, but I never really like broke it down and like I never really thought that far ahead. And I realized really quickly after talking to other leaders and stuff, and when I quit my job, my upline was like, okay, like this is how we're going to do this. Like, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to make improvements. So I'm excited to share this with you guys because it's really, really helped my business take off and sustain during like crazy seasons like this. So, so the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is kind of how I go about planning my month. And then I'm going to kind of end it with some other like inspo in your feels type stuff. But I wanted to get like the good tangible stuff out of the way first. So the very first thing that I do that I've always done is I need to know what I'm inviting to, and I need to know when it starts, right? Like, you have your challenge groups and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong way to like run your boot camps. I've run my boot camps months, like probably 6 to 7 months with one solid like streak where it doesn't close and open. So it was like an ongoing group, and that was good until it wasn't good anymore and it fizzled out. And then I've also had really great success stopping and starting a new group and having fresh energy and a fresh page and a fresh theme. So I've done both ways, and I know everybody does things differently. But I found after like 6 months of doing an ongoing group that it was kind of starting to fizzle out. And with Facebook's algorithms, like there were all of these girls in the group and such a small percentage of them were participating that it was like, okay, like nobody's seeing these notifications. Like it just didn't have that energy like during that first week when everyone's like on it for prep week. So lately, as of late, like the last 3 months, I've switched back to starting a new boot camp every single month. It starts the first Monday of the month. And I'm always planned a month out. So like you guys were just talking about the work, like 100% yes, you need to know what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be talking about. You don't want to be talking about it last minute, right? So planning, I don't remember when corporate put out that like timeline. I saw it somewhere, but it has all the launches. You could literally plan out like your 6 months to the year is kind of excessive, but like you literally can know what you're doing, and that puts you in an advantage because then you don't feel like you're scrambling and you don't feel like you're like last minute trying to hustle these girls into get into your group. So planning a month out, first Monday of every month, and whatever I'm focusing on right now, or whatever I'm focusing on for the month, I split like boot camps and coach recruiting, and I split the month like down the middle, and I pretty much you'll always see me sharing my journey, but I'm really heavy focused on one at a time, because I found that I was like, if I didn't have this like solid like focus, I was just kind of always talking about both, and I was like call to actions for both, and people didn't really, I don't know, it was just a lot of information for people that didn't really know, what I was talking about. Like I was trying to show them what I was offering, and it was like internships and then a boot camp, and it was just a lot. So of course, if people are interested in coaching, I'm always giving them the information, but I'm going really heavy on one at a time. So I've done it where during like on the first of the month, I'll like announce my new boot camp. And this is what I do on my Instagram stories. I find that like that's where I get my most success. I'm sure you guys know the same. Posts do okay, but I'm talking Instagram stories here. So I'll like announce my new boot camp. I always only have a number of spots available. So whether it's 10 or 50, nobody needs to know if you actually have spots or not. Like it's your business, doesn't matter. Put a number on it. I always try to aim high so that I like have to show up and level up. But so I'll announce it. I'll create like a cute little in my word swag like app, something then I use that same theme and colors all month long or all week long when I'm talking about it, so that people see it consistently over and over again. And so what I do is whatever I'm focusing hard on, so say I'm recruiting to my boot camp, I'm breadcrumbing the shit out of that every single day, everywhere, all the time, like heavy. Like I said earlier, I'm always talking about both, but you will know when I'm recruiting to a boot camp because my transformations are all over my feed, and it's just a very different vibe than when I'm trying to get coaches. So I try to do that as my first focus. One, because I want to lock in Success Club, and that's my strength is boot camps. My strength is not recruiting coaches. I'm getting better, but I know where my strengths are at, and I need to lock in Success Club because I want to have the time later in the month to like find my people and have these conversations with coaches and stuff. So that's why I choose to do that. So I would really suggest whatever your strength is, if you're going to try this method and split it and really focus in on it, put your strength first so you can lock in SD10 at the very least, and then move on to something that might take a little more time or intention from you. So I literally, when I set a Success Club goal for like the boot camps, so if there's 10 spots, I'm going to hit SC20, and I publicly fill the boot camp on my Instagram stories. And the first time that I did it, it scared the shit out of me because I just was like, okay, now I'm going to have to like actually fill all these spots. I said I had 10 spots. Like, I got to go find 10 girls that want to do this. But what happened was, like, the time frame, I find that like if there's urgency, so if I'm recruiting for the first week for my boot camp and prep week starts that following Monday or whatever, then I say they get to get started right away. Because before I was recruiting for like the next month, and there was so much time in between when I was inviting these girls to when they'd actually start, that I needed to like cut that way back. So one, there's urgency. Like, we get started on Monday, like there's no time for them to like think and fall off and disappear. And then 2, there's only a limited amount of spots. And then 3, they see the spots filling. I just put the girls' first names. I don't include their last names or tag them or anything unless like they're cool with it or they're a friend or whatever. I don't call them out like that much, but I will put their names on there. And every single time a spot fills, I go on and I use that same image from Word Swag and I fill in a name. And I'll say like 5 spots left. And I legit will go on every single day and talk about it. And one thing that I found that's like, because at first I tried to talk myself out of this, like blasting these CTAs, every call to actions every single day. But what I found is that people need to see things like a lot before they hear you, and they need to see them like, I mean, I think I read somewhere it's like 7 or 8 times. I'm sure it's more than that, but they need to see it enough and in some kind of like different ways, whether you're talking on video about it, but no matter what, I'm including a poll. So if it's like a workout video or that same like sponsor filling Word Swag thing, or a video of me talking, or like screen share my boot camp like Facebook page, no matter how I'm sharing it, I'm going about it in a different way, and then I'm doing a poll every single time. And I find it's funny because some people, you can tell the people that really respond to like that visual, like they want to see behind the scenes and they want to like really see what you're talking about, like what is this boot camp. And then other people see that same image, and you got to think like, how many times do you see an ad or a commercial before you like know that it's that person? That all goes back to like brand, right? So I find that reusing that same vibe, like for the whole time I'm recruiting, is helpful, and I get more response from it. So always having a call to action on when you're like recruiting hard for this, whether it's a poll. I know some people have more success with like drop your email. I don't really get a lot of success with that, but polls seem to do really well for me. And so that's kind of how, so you can take that and literally do the same exact thing with the coaching internship, which I'm currently doing right now. I kind of changed things a little bit and am trying that out right now. Actually, I got the idea from Emma. Well, she let me snoop on the Instagram sneak peek that you guys have, which I think is really cool. I've been wanting to start one. It just seemed like really overwhelming. So I'm trying that out this month. But whatever you do, just like know when it's going to start, how many spots are there, like what do you have to offer them, like really make it, I try to give like that structure and that urgency. And then as the spots fill, that creates FOMO, and I find that I have more success that way. So that's how I have been able to hit Success Club on early in the month, because I do these things at the beginning. Now, that doesn't mean that I like don't sign people up like later in the month if they're like, hey, did I miss it? It's like, oh, I'm happy to open up a spot for you, whatever. Like, you can do it however you want for your business, but that is how I've seen success early on. And then I'm not stressing about Success Club, and then I can go and really interact and find, like I said, like my people and recruiting and all of that stuff. So that is how I've been able to hit early on. Another thing that I do is set a new goal for every month. So Success Club goal, which is always 10. That's 10 is like just barely like scraping by. That's like bare minimum. I've had like a really shitty month, or like personal life is crazy, but I always have to hit that no matter what. But I usually try to aim much higher than that, because then I fall somewhere in between. So that has been really helpful. Another thing that, what was I going to say? Oh, another thing that I do that's been cool and kind of like eye-opening is I look at my business. So like my business as in like my team and being a leader and being a coach to like these other girls. and my boot camps, and I try and find one area of improvement for the month. So if there's something that I feel like is lacking, I try to figure out why, and I try to fix it, or I try something new, or I look up a training or ask someone that I feel like is good at it. Like I always try to focus on one thing that I can improve, because I'm one that will get stuck in my ways. I get in like robot mode where I'm like so in my routine and how I do things. I've been doing them this way for so long that sometimes I don't like it works until it doesn't work anymore. And like sometimes you don't realize it until it doesn't work anymore. And you're like, shit, what is going on? So that is one thing that's been really good, and making sure that stays at the top of my planner or my journal, so that I'm like being intentional about that every single day of that month, or, working day, and putting my intention behind that. So for a while I wasn't being very intentional about the community in my challenge groups, and I knew it and I could feel it because my girls weren't checking in as much. Like nutrition was kind of falling, like things were just kind of slipping. This was this summer. And setting that intention for the month, going like, okay, what value can you add to get these girls better results? Where are they struggling? Why aren't they checking in? Like figuring those things out, and then putting action behind it, and like actually changing your behavior as a coach so that part of your business can get better. So that's been another goal that I just added in at the beginning of this year, like a intention. I always had like a business goal, but I was really bad about, like I said, trying new things. I kind of was like stuck in my ways, and it's just so important to always be a student too, and be open to trying new stuff and learning and all of that stuff. That's been really, really huge for me. So, so for planning let me see, I'll make sure that I talked about all of my boot camp stuff. So, okay, and I already went over that. Okay, so so those are like my monthly, like that's how I plan my month. Like I said, it's not super, I usually do like 2 weeks of boot camp and 2 weeks of coaching or whatever. And I'm always a month ahead, so I know what's coming. But what I found is that like I would like write all these goals down and like structure my month. And then I didn't really like, I almost like was like, okay, I set these goals now, like how am I supposed to like actually like make this happen? And I feel like so many times we get like frozen in like the doing, because maybe we don't have it all the way figured out, or like I said earlier, like things work until they don't work anymore. And then you realize like, okay, I have to change what I'm doing. So I really took a look at like where my weaknesses were in my business, as far as like these actions that needed to happen so that I could actually like make this like whole like goal thing work for myself. And it was the fact that I wasn't starting my day with the things that I knew I needed to do, which is obviously the vitals. But I'd slacked off for, I don't know how many months, a few months on my morning routine. My schedule was backwards. I was staying up and sleeping in, whatever. It was just a season of life I was going through, but it completely like threw me off. And I realized that after a few months that was missing, because what was happening is like I said, I have 2 kids, and one of them is literally, 2-year-olds they're a lot. I love her dearly, but there was a season in my business where I could kind of work and she would crawl around, or before she was like really, like really needed me for everything all the time and was like getting into things. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, I can't really work all day unless she's napping. And so I had to like protect my business and protect those vitals, and they had to get done first. Like they had to. And I realized that if I didn't get them done first, they weren't going to happen. And I'm hoping that this season is not forever, and that I can have a little more flexibility, because we work so hard to have flexibility in our schedule and stuff. And that's huge. But right now with where I'm at, I've found that like getting that done and out of the way, because it's something that I put off if I don't like get it done right away, has been really, really huge. So my morning routine, and starting my day off with, after my morning routine, I do all of my vitals for my tracker. I'm sure you guys use trackers. There's different ones floating around. But that helps me, just get that stuff out of the way. So for my morning routine, it's varied a little bit over time, but obviously I have to get up at like 5, energize and PD, which is usually something, you have to pick something that has to do with like what you're struggling with. I usually do an Audible book or like a podcast, but and then I do my affirmations, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Gratitude list, meditate. This is only like 3 to 5 minutes of stuff. So like all of this stuff, not the meditation is 3 to 5 minutes, but all of this stuff in between energize and workout, it's not very long. It doesn't take up a huge chunk of my time, but I protect that stuff too, because it's really important for me and for my mental health and for my mindset. Like I know that that stuff has to get done, and it has to get done first, or it's just not, it's not going to happen. So in between energize and workout, I'm doing my PD, affirmations, gratitude list, meditating, and then my energize is kicked in and I work out. And I find that when I'm done working out, you guys know how it is, like you're on a workout high, you're pumped full of energize, and that is the best freaking time to go do some invites, like share that passion about your business or whatever it is you're feeling, get on your Instagram stories. Like that is the best time I found for me to work, because I'm naturally all like pumped up and fired up about whatever my workout. So that is how I've structured my mornings, and I have seen great success with that. I've also gone through seasons where that hasn't really happened and I've had to work a little bit at night. Like, you know, like it's, you can fluctuate it, but I really recommend getting in that chunk of stuff, especially the vitals, really protecting it, finding that time in your day where you know you will not be interrupted. There will not be excuses. Like, you know, nothing's going to come up and get in the way of you getting that stuff done for your business. Cause it's like, you guys know, it's everything. So, oh, that just made me think of, okay, so last year sometime I was reading Eat That Frog, I think, by Brian Tracy. He talks about like doing the things that you don't want to do, the most annoying, the scariest, whatever, the things that you know you need to get done that you put off all day long, and like moving it to the top of your to-do list. And that mentality has literally been a game changer for me. And whatever it is, like if it's invites, which for me for a long time it was like, I'm inviting, like, are you really inviting? Are you checking off your tracker? Like, no, you're just like going on doing stories and chatting with people. Like you have to, you know, have that focused energy on your business and on those vital behaviors. And it's easy to get distracted, especially like we work on social media. There's so much happening, but getting that out of the way first and like really protecting that time has been huge for me. If you haven't read Eat That Frog, it's really good. If you struggle with that, I highly recommend that book. So that is pretty much. One more thing I want to say, and this is like not a sexy topic, but discipline and consistency has been so huge for me. I feel like so my team had a call with Josh Coates, and you guys know who that is. He's amazing. He speaks at like Summit and trains coaches and stuff. But he was talking about how we like, because we're so, okay, so he compared the vital behaviors and like our business, our journey, like our main journey activities. So like our shakeout and our workout and our meal plan, like those are no matter what's, right? Like you guys would do that every single day, no matter what, because your journey is super important to you. And like, you know, that's what our business is our journey. And he was like, 90% of you guys are not treating your vitals in the same way. They're not as much of a non-negotiable for you, because he's like, I don't know why, but you guys don't treat them the same, and they should be even a little more important, right? Like they need to be at the top of the list. So I just really like that analogy. And I've been trying to share with my coaches, like, look, your journey and your workouts and all that, that's really important. And I want you to do that always, but let's treat our business activities in the same way, with the same, like with the same passion and the same excitement, all of that. And same with like business opportunity. During the business opportunity with somebody needs this about coaching as you would about your boot camps, right? And that was something that I had to realize about myself, because I have, you know, I've lost 100 pounds, and so that was where my strength was. That's where my confidence was, you know, and I hadn't hit huge rank goals. And so I had a lot of confidence behind talking about boot camps, but I didn't necessarily give that same energy behind with coaching. So that's something that's helped me to like realize like this opportunity, coaching is a gift, just like health, just like the solutions that we have for people's health and fitness is a gift. Like they're equal, and we should be screaming like both from the rooftops all the time. So that was a cool analogy that I liked. If you resonate with that at all, or pass on to your coaches, because it's good to relate to. So that is how I structure things. Like I said, it changes with the seasons, but I think the most important thing just to take away from all of that I just said is like, whatever you're focusing on, focus on that one thing. And so your followers know when they come to your page, like, or they're asking you a question about something, like they know what they're inquiring about. Like, is it a boot camp? Or am I going to be a coach? Like, what even is this, right? Because we have these two kind of separate opportunities, although they go together. Like we talk about them separately. So I think it's important, and I've seen better success when I'm specifically like focused in on that, and then breadcrumbing the crap out of it within that time frame where you're recruiting for it. So that's been really, really huge.
So the last thing up to you really quick though, I just wanted you to answer this question that Emma said before you move on, because it has to do with your routine, I guess, and like the structure of your business. She said when you split up your month, I guess, do you have specific dates of the week like that you do? So you said your boot camp is on the 1st, and then you start at the first Monday. What do you do for your like when you're talking about joining your team? Do you do that like the end of the month or the middle of the month?
So I'll just do whatever. This month I just flip-flop them because of the work coming out. So like around launches, things are kind of weird, you know, because dates are different. So I flip-flop them. I'm recruiting for coaching right now. But usually in a normal routine, my boot camps, like the first 2 weeks, I'm recruiting hard for those and getting girls in my boot camp. And then I switch over and just go straight to coaching. So the next 2 weeks from like the 15th to the 30th, I'm pushing hard to get girls on my team. And I find that way, like I get a good chunk of these girls joining together, and that's fun because then we can do our new coach mentorship together. There's less like transitioning with like girls that join at different times, and some girls know some stuff and some girls don't yet. And like, you know, like it's fun to have like these little pods of girls that come on at the same time. And then they build relationships together. And so that's been really cool too. So that's kind of how I structure that.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you.
Yeah. So last thing I just wanted to share, Emma had said something about affirmations, and it got me thinking about it because this is a conversation I had with my coach like last year. I had gone 1 star, and my girl that was like my runner like quit on me, and I was just, you know, it's just like a really shitty feeling. You're in this place where you're just like, you're just questioning your business, and you just feel gross, and your fire's gone. And I was still plugging away and doing all the things. Like I've never not shown up. I've never once like wanted to like quit. Like I've complained, but this is for me. Like this is my path, right? But I just didn't feel like my actions were being met with like the success that I deserved. And so she was talking to me, and she was like, so like how much do you like really believe that you can like do any of this? So like if I wanted to hit 2 star or whatever, she's like, how do you really like believe that you can do it? And I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, you know, I'm confident. I'm like putting this off this vibe that I like totally got this. And she's like, but like, do you like actually sit and like picture yourself like leading a bigger team? Like, do you visualize? Do you do any of that? And I'm like, no, but I know I can do it, you know? And it really made me like take a look at like my subconscious thoughts and those things in the back of my head. Mindset is so huge. If you're not nourishing your mindset, start. But that was something that really kind of opened my eyes and made me realize like, okay, I'm telling myself I can do it. I've kind of been trying to fake it till I make it, but there's still a lot of doubt in there, and it's hard. Like it's hard being told no. It's hard, you know, having rejection or people backing down or whatever. Like there's hard parts of this business. Your why and like why you do this will always trump those things, but it's still hard. And so having a solid mindset and figuring out what your weaknesses are, what you're not so confident about, you know, for a long time for me, it was like feeling like I was worthy, like this subconscious thought that I wasn't worthy enough to have this big team or to have this certain amount of money from this business or whatever it is. And those things, it wasn't so much setting goals for the rank and like the actual tangible things that you can see for this business, but it was like the thoughts and beliefs that were going to get me to that place and to let me step into that role. And so that was something that I added into my daily routine. I mentioned it for the mornings. I am affirmations are every single morning. I either write them or speak them, sometimes both, depending on where I'm at in my head. But this is actually something I also implement in the evening too. And I find that like, if it's the first thing you're stating and the last thing you're stating before you go into sleep or come out of it, like it is really, really powerful. And it's something that, you know, those thoughts right when you wake up and right when you go to bed, like those thoughts stick with you throughout all the time, even if you forget about them, like they're in there. So I really suggest finding something that you feel like, I mean, even if it's like, it can be a rank thing. You know, I have rank and income alarms on my phone, on my laptop. I have sticky notes, like note cards. It's like my screensaver. Like it's all over the place because I want to like live and breathe and consume these things that I want. but I also had to like understand that there were other things that were keeping me from getting to these goals. And I had to, that's like some deeper like inner work. That's like some PD stuff, but really like identifying those weaknesses for yourself or whatever it is you think that's holding you back and adding that into your IMs. And Josh Coates, I think, yeah, it was Josh Coates. He actually did something too about IM. And there was a letter that it was a training or something. I can't remember, but you had to write a letter to yourself. And I keep it in my desk because it was like, it's crazy to look back and read that. You're just like, oh my God, but you're pretty much like telling yourself who you are and what you are before you feel or think that way. Like, you know, who you want to be and like the roles you want to step into. If you want to be a 5-star elite coach, what does that look like? What do you have to like act like and talk like and think like? And you know, it's really powerful to write those things down. And I've just found that to be really helpful. And when I first heard about writing IM affirmations, I think again, it's consistency, because you can't just do it once in a while and expect it to stick. You have to really just add it into your routine, put it on your checklist, make it a part of your self-care in the morning, so that it really starts to stick and you start implementing it into your routine. But yeah, so that's been huge. And then also, like I said, having those alarms on my computer, I have it like 9, 12, 3, and 6, and they're all different kind of things. So they go off every single day, whether I'm on my computer or my phone, I see them. And it's just a good reminder. It's a good reminder. If it's funny, because sometimes they'll pop up and it's like, oh, I really needed that right now. Like today has not been great. And on the business side, or, you know, someone just told me no, or one of my coaches wants to quit or whatever. It's like, okay, like I am a 5-star elite coach, you know, and it'll pop up and you'll go, okay, I'm really glad I set that alarm. So if you don't have alarm set, I highly suggest doing it. Do the sticky note thing. You know, I've always preached like having a why and having those like reminders and affirmations in my boot camps. And I feel like they're just as important, if not more important, for like our coaches and our teams to have those as well too. So I think that's all I had for you guys. One thing I just kind of want to like leave you with, and I'm happy to answer questions, but kind of going back to setting those affirmations and all that stuff. Like if you really don't, but like you have to really get into a place where you can believe in what you're doing. And I think so much of that comes from like getting into a routine and not feeling like you are, for me, for a long time, I felt like my business was all over the place. I didn't know what I was working on, when I was going to work on it. And it's so easy to like let stuff slip through the cracks, because you're like, our businesses are on our phone. They go with us everywhere, and it seeps into other parts of our life, and it can get messy really fast. So if you don't have systems and you don't have a routine, I highly suggest doing it. I'm a pen and paper girl. I do Google Sheets for like launches and stuff like that. I have Google Forms for applications and that kind of stuff. Very basic systems on my level, but whatever level of like organization you need, I just suggest doing that, because then you're more confident. You don't have to think about it when you lay down like, oh my God, did I get back to that girl? I don't remember. Like, did I send that link out? Because you have your stuff set up so that you don't have to worry about it. And it just makes the business more enjoyable, because you're not like stressing about that stuff. So that is all I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them.
Yes, I have one question, because you were talking about in the beginning your challenge groups, and where you had an ongoing one and then you would switch it. So I feel like, I mean, my team probably can attest to this, that we started doing like during MM100, doing like a quarterly one, and in the beginning it was great, like everyone was interactive, and now like 3 people post their sweaty selfie. So I guess my question is, do you make a new group each time, or do you just delete everything from the group?
I make a new group. Okay, so I'm kind of in a weird spot right now, because I just came out of like a 6-month like running like an ongoing group, and so that one, like I definitely I just like took everyone out of it, said hey, and I like individually messaged these girls, and there had been a lot of girls like over those 6 months, and it was just too much. So in a normal situation, yes, I'll make a brand new group. I have everything, like all my prep work and everything like that. It's all pre-scheduled out. Like it is a little bit of work at the end of each month to get stuff ready. But I just find that like if it's a fresh group, there's a fresh theme, there's new energy, like you get to go in there and go live. Everyone's starting on the same day. You know, that just like feels good, and it's worked for me. But I've also done ongoing groups, but I will say, like you said, like you're doing them quarterly. After 2 or 3 months, that's kind of like the max. I feel like people kind of just like fizzle out. And I've also found if I'm doing these monthly groups, my challengers create relationships with each other because they remember these girls they started with. And then when they become coaches or they see the other girls become coaches, they are more likely, like they just feel more connected, if that makes sense. Like there's more community feel when everyone starts together.
Yeah. Okay. And so Amanda, do they do the same program? Like what program do you do?
I do open groups. Like they can do any program they want unless it's a launch. Then we only do that program together. It's a test group. It's like very exclusive. I like spin it like it's very, very exclusive. And that, you know, like we all start on MM100, which is unfortunate because it's so long, but a lot of us are doing doubles so we can do the work here coming up. But I let people choose their own program because that's nice about having the variety.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions? No. And I highly, highly recommend making an Instagram for your team. It has been the best. Like, it's so much easier to just have a separate place to go. And it's crazy, honestly, when I first started, I know Emma can say this too, is like because I had the same feeling. I remember hearing a National Wake Up Call, and she's like, people get so confused when you're talking about boot camps and talking about internships and they don't know what they're signing up for. And I was like, yes, this is how I feel. And so ever since, like, being like, okay guys, like, I'm going to go live and talk about coaching and how it changed my life. If you want to find out more, like, click here on my Instagram story, click here. And it had like the link to my team Instagram. And it's weird. It's crazy to see like you don't realize how many people were interested until they start wanting to get access into that private team page. And so then you can reach out to them and then you know exactly who they are. So yeah. I highly suggest that. And yeah, it's a closed group. So yeah, I've been obsessed with that. And I feel like once you're like, you really know, like, okay, I know I'm looking for people that want to make 6 figures. So I'm not messing around here, you know? And so once you're very, very clear on what you want for your business and your goals, then you know exactly who you're looking for. So yeah.
And I feel like it makes it so much easier for people too, because I've religiously ran sneak peeks on Facebook for years, and literally the same thing over and over again. And it was working for a while, but as Instagram has exploded and become the favorite platform, it's like really hard to get people over to Facebook. You have to find them, and then you have to add them in there, and then they're like, I don't really check my Facebook, and it's like, oh my God. So having that like easy access, like people want easy, like you said, and it's easy for them just to click follow. And they clicked follow for a reason. Even if they don't like want to sign up right now, like you now have them on your follow-up list and it's done. It's a done deal.
Exactly. I love it. So, yeah, anyone? No, we're all good. No questions. No.
What other questions does anyone have?
What are your questions, guys?
What are your questions? We started saying, Gabby got this tip about saying, instead of saying, do you have any questions, saying, what are your questions? So I've been like catching myself lately. I'm happy you shared that with me, Gabby.
I have a question.
Taking note too.
I knew someone had a question. What are your questions?
I have a question. And forgive me if you talk about this. My dad called me in the middle, so I had to take it.
Fine.
I've been kind of wanting to ask more people about this on team calls when we have guest speakers. What do you use as like a tracking system for yourself? I mean, I've been writing stuff down in a notebook, but I feel like the more things are starting to grow and the more people that you talk to, it kind of seems hard to like keep track of. Like, do you physically write everything down? Do you do like an Excel spreadsheet? And I know people have talked about flagging on Instagram, but strictly like, how do you keep track of who you talk to, when you follow up with them, things like that?
So I have tried like the very most advanced levels of Streak through Gmail, and my brain, I don't know why, it just was too much for me. So I found a system that works for me. So if you haven't tried Streak, a lot of people swear by it. I'll do it for launches if I have like a mass email list or something. Takes a while to set up, but it is really useful. There's a lot of good perks with it. However, I find that in my day-to-day stuff, because it's not easy, like for me, it's not super easy for me to access it on my phone, which is where I do 90% of my business. I will do conversations mostly on Instagram, right? So if I'm just having conversations, like these aren't people I've invited, these aren't people I've given information to, but they're people I've got my eye on and I'm connecting with, I will flag their conversation. And if I think they'd make a great coach, I will save their Instagram profile. There's like that little flag at the bottom. So you can save those profiles and you can organize them. You can make folders. Someone told me this on a call and I was like, oh, this is like amazing. So that's how I keep track of, like, I try to make like my Instagram BFFs. These are girls I want to connect with. These are girls I want on my team. So I organize them there. And then anytime someone wants information or I invite them and they say, yeah, sure, send me info, I make them fill out a Google form. So I made it a tiny URL. It's Workout with Lauren, and it's just an ongoing, basically customer log. And even if I could just send them the info right there on Instagram, I just say, hey, fill this out really quick. That way you now have their email. You know where they found you. You just have like a little more information if you ever want to go back to them. And that is how I track everyone that I've sent info to. And then when they order, I just highlight their thing yellow to tell me that they've ordered from me and they're now a challenger. So then I can go back and look. I mean, there's hundreds of girls that have asked for info and haven't signed up. So that's how I build that follow-up list. Again, that's what works for me. I've also done it with, like I said, the streak for bigger launches. Like if I'm doing a launch or a launch party, I for sure make sure I have a form. And you have to send that link out on a certain day. Cause like I send my link out for the launch on the day it launches. Like it's a little more like structured, but for an ongoing thing, I have a Google form and you can color code it however you want, but that's been really helpful, for me too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, the Google form, you guys, I do not, like, if they're like, oh, I want more info, I'm like, literally like, great, awesome, I'm so pumped, but if you could just fill out my form so I can get to know you a little better, that'd be so awesome. Like, because you could be there forever and talking about so much, and you're off doing something else waiting for them to reply when it literally takes them maybe less than 5 minutes to fill out a form. You guys, it's so much easier to just direct them to something that might save you a ton of time and get them signed up faster into your challenge group faster.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. And I totally heard that about like creating, because you can, like you said, like the flags, you can, I think I don't remember who it was, but I remember listening to that too. So you can like make like little sections like coaches or like customers or like interest. I do that too. I haven't been doing that, but that's such a good idea.
Yeah, I love doing that. I also do that to like organize like content inspiration. This is totally sidebar, but like if I see like a really cool like fitness girl with a cool pose, I'm like, okay, I need to recreate that and I'll save it. So it's just a cool way to organize, because Instagram is kind of organized, but not really. And so it's nice to compartmentalize those things so that you can go back.
Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. Okay, well, if no one, anyone else? Like, what are words? No. Okay.
Well, thank you, guys.
Lauren.
Yes,
I'm so happy you're on. Where are your little ones? They're not running around.
Yeah, my mom has them there. I can hear Georgia in the faint distance.
Yay, cool. Thanks so much. You're amazing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lauren, so much. You guys, I'm going to stop the recording, but if you want to stay on to take a picture really quick, you can. If not, no worries.